Hello everyone, this is Sodhi from CAAN Wings Consultants. There is something unusual about this edition. It's not the usual updates that I give you. I have with me a client. It's more of a case study that I'd like to share with you. So I have with me Gaurav Chabra, who recently got his 489 visa grant letter, and I would like him to share his experience and a very honest advice to all of you who are looking at migrating to Australia, so that you have a first hand experience shared by a person who very recently got his visa and has gone through the entire gamut of the processes such as the skills assessment, the state nomination, and finally the visa application and the grant letter. So welcome, Gaurav. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
the first thing I would like to ask you is that how did you get to know about CAAN Wings? I'd like you to share with our viewers.
So, first of all, thank you to all the audience who are watching this video. Thanks for taking out time to watch this video. So, I got to know about CAAN Wings through YouTube video, of course. So, first time, because earlier days I was actually desperately looking for consultants, and at that point of time, they were not really. I was not able to reach out because I was located in Ranchi, Jharkhand. So that's again in eastern part of India, and there's not much awareness among the audience in that particular geography about immigration consultants. In fact, I reached few of the consultants abroad who are based out of Australia. So I randomly searching for the migration agents on the online platforms. So I came across your video on the 489 visa, which was shoot. You had recorded a video quite a long time back, but I came to know about CAAN Wings, and then I searched, I googled about the website, and then I came to know about CAAN
Okay,
Wings.
so here I have in mind, this brings me to a question. Now, a lot of clients, like you said, you also talk to certain consultants abroad. So, people think that migration agents who are based out of India, that is in Australia, who are MARA registered, are probably more competent to handle the migration applications, whereas I feel it is the experience that matters. And we at CAAN Wings, of course, do have an offshore migration agent ID, which is a similar 7-digit ID, because of which we are able to represent our clients' cases. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. So, Gaurav, was this somewhere at the back of your mind that you are going to process your application through somebody who's not a MARA registered agent but an offshore agent based in India?
Yeah, ma'am. So that's a very interesting question, ma'am. First of all, while shortlisting, so while I approached, I believe I have had a conversation with more than 20 to 25 consultants, including MARA agents. There were 7 to 8
I didn't
MARA.
know that, by the way.
Yes, ma'am. I actually never shared it. So, but after doing that, I had spoken to lot many MARA agents who were in Australia, and I had to. I mean, I spent a lot of money while communicating also with them.
Yeah, so
And
here, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you.
sure.
I'd like to share that we, of course, provide you free counseling until the time you decide to sign up. And you can talk to us like 10 times or whatever number of times and have detailed conversations. But I've seen that most of the agents based abroad and even some agents in India charge you for even speaking to you and talking to you about your life.
Absolutely. So I have somewhere around spent more than 45,000 rupees, including with those who are
Wow.
based out in Australia, who are registered MARA agents. But I was not really happy with the kind of advice and with the kind of entire process which they explained me. And also, what I believe is, first of all, there is a little bit of research that everyone should do about the process, so that when you are speaking to any migration agent, whether it's an offshore agent or whether he's a MARA agent, you will come to know that he or she is explaining you the right process or not. So basic research is very much important. That really helped me while shortlisting the correct agency for me. So when I had spoken to your organization, and when I got your appointment and we spoke over the call for the first time, and then I came down all the way from Ranchi to Jalandhar, which is again 2000 kilometers almost, and I came down because I was so very much I would not say impressed. I was actually so contented. I was happy to, because you had shared all the correct information with me, which I somewhere could relate with my research.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, ma'am, it never mattered to me whether you would have been a MARA agent or you're an offshore agent. What mattered to me was that the piece of advice and direction that you and the guidance that you shared with me was correct. So that authenticity of information can only be verified if you also have the basic understanding about the process, And definitely, ma'am, I don't think so. It makes any difference if it's you are applying through either an offshore agent or a Mara agent, because the entire process is going to be again, it's a transparent process. It's an online process. You apply through IMI account and everything is there online.
And we're dealing directly with the government. There's
Correct.
no third party.
No third party.
Now, I'd like to ask you, Gaurav. Now, I don't know whether it's a rumor or if it's true. The person who counseled you, Shweta, she told me that when Gaurav took the entire counseling, he kind of sat back in the chair for a bobhead and asked me mockingly, "Are you sure it's that simple? We're talking about Australia immigration here. Is that correct?"
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is very funny. So it gives me pleasure to share the entire interaction with her. So what happened is I came down all the way. I traveled 2,000 kilometers to meet you. When I entered your office, you were obviously, because you were handling so many files on a daily basis. So you were working on some and you had prior appointments. So I could not get your appointment, and so they told me that I'll have to meet to the counseling team first, which I was not really happy about, because I came all down from the Ranjit to meet you. Then they took me to Shweta. Then because I had done my part of research, and I saw that I was not able to make up I thought I am not eligible, and I came with a mindset to talk about student visa.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I came with a mindset of student visa, that I was planning to go and go to Australia and do masters again.
You probably thought you'd go on a student visa and then apply for the onshore migration.
Right now.
Okay.
So when I had started my interaction with Shweta, then she was a very cheerful person, I would say. And she started with a note, why do you want to go as a student? So I was like, see, do you understand? We are talking about Australia migration, number one. And I have very much, I have extensive research. I've spent years in my research, all these 5-7 years. I waited for this moment, and I think you should. What I was approached was, you are not the right person to tell me what am I going to do. I need your support in student visa. It explained me about the student visa. Then she started, no sir, let me just correct you. You can be eligible for offshore PR, which is 489 visa. And so I just was like, okay, do you understand what is 489? Because I very well understand what is 489 and what is 190, for that matter 189. So I took her on a very very silly note, and but then she was very patient to me, very kind, and then she explained me with all the technicalities from step 1 till the end, till the time visa is allotted. So post my interaction, ma'am, what the overview, what I could conclude was, I think each and every desk or each and every, I would say, team which is involved here at CAAN Wings has their own piece of extensive expertise in completing that stage of process. So if I talk about counseling, she was very much aware what she is going to say and what she was saying, and what are the chances and probability of me getting a visa basis my profile. So that was a very, I would say, a very funny journey, but it was very interesting at the same time.
That's great. So I'd like to quickly share with you that Gaurav had nominated the occupation for cafe or a restaurant manager, and he was sitting at 85 points, out of which 15 points were allocated to him for state nomination for a 489 visa, which has now been replaced by a 491 visa. So for those of you who think that probably 60 points, because 25 points is something like a bonus that he gets.
But I would like to just add here, I was adamant that I wanted to go to. If you remember, I remember my interaction with Shweta also, and then we had spoken as well, that I came that, I need to go to New South Wales. I don't want to go to Melbourne. I don't want to go to Brisbane or anywhere else. I was adamant about Sydney, because I've been there in Sydney for 2 years and back in 2008 on a student visa. So I remember, because my points were stuck at 60, and that is how where an expert migration agent, be an offshore or a Mara agent, comes into picture when you don't know the technicalities, because this is open. This information was not mentioned on the IMI website, that you get 15 points for choosing a regional area. This information I had no, because I thought I have done a lot of research, which I did. These 25 points information I didn't know about it, which you actually told me about. I mean, your piece of advice, your points can make up to 85 if you choose a regional area. That is how I changed my mind and I moved to Adelaide. And in fact, it is so interesting that while you were when we'll talk about the state nomination process, ma'am, I still remember I had requested your team to file for New South Wales only without even asking me. They had taken this ownership, and you had taken this ownership, and you had applied for South Australia. Considering the fact that I'll get it immediately because it was adding the 25 points was added to my account, to my profile. So that is very important to understand. Migration agent who has expertise in this field for years of experience and expertise and a success rate, they come into picture.
Yeah. So what happens is a lot of people come to us with, first of all, with a mindset that we want to go on a student visa, because people have this notion that probably the only way to settle in Australia is to first go on a student visa and then apply for a non-student visa. That's so not true. Those with some sort of tertiary qualification and some work experience are definitely eligible to apply from overseas as well. And yes, we have a lot of people saying we want to go to Melbourne and Sydney because majority of the students are based in Melbourne and Sydney.
Right.
So they think probably those are the states to be in. They do not realize that Australia is a very vast country, and at this point of time, I mean, maybe 15 years from now, people didn't know what South Australia was. But as on today, there are clients who specifically say we want to go to South Australia, we want to live in Adelaide because it's cost effective and the salaries are comparable in terms of Melbourne and all the other cities that people talk about. Now, Gaurav, quickly I'd like to ask you that while an applicant is always open to lodge an application on his own,
Right.
why do you think that an applicant, or why did you feel that now you said you had researched everything on your own and you were in a position to actually judge the person who was advising you? Why did you feel the need to spend so much money, engage a migration agent for a process you could have very well taken up on your own?
Yes, sir. So this reminds me of 2-3 things, ma'am, I would like to share. I mean, I already shared this with your team and yourself as well in the past. So, ma'am, the best part. I think this is also funny, but this is very important for everyone to understand. See, first of all, you have your piece of research. I had my piece of research done, ma'am. That is, and if I had not done that, then if I had not researched, I'll tell you, ma'am, if you'll talk me about, there are 100 migration agents in Jalandhar, then I would, if you want me as an audience student, I would come up, say 99 of them are fraud, because this is a very common thing happening with a lot of people. So, post my research, ma'am, I had spent, I remember I came at the very last moment in the last month of June, and luckily September was the last month when 489 was going to get abolished, right? So you told me that, Gaurav, you have a very limited period of time, and I had to prepare all my documents.
It was coming to an end in November.
November 16th, ma'am, but the state nomination...
Yeah, that would have ceased.
That would have ceased. So that is why I mentioned September. But the only time that I had was July and August. And I had no skills assessment done. I was sitting at 0. So within 10 days, I did my documentation. In fact, I still remember, ma'am, I have prepared all my documents in 7 days without sleeping.
He was very prompt in handing over the documents. I remember I needed an applicant declaration signed for him because we had to lodge his application under priority processing. Right. And he was traveling. He was at the airport when I called him. I said, Gaurav, I need this document ASAP because I need to lodge it. He says, ma'am, I'm at the airport right now. How can I give it? I don't have access to a printer. I said, I don't care what you do. Just send it to me. So he managed. He was that cooperative. He managed to send the documents, and his documentation was very proper. And we are very happy with such clients who understand the requirements and who give us documents in the format that we need. That also helps us put up the application and expedite the process for them.
Yes, sir. And that's very important. See, what happens is, ma'am, generally what we do, what we as an applicant, what we do is, okay, we have hired a migration agent. They'll take care of everything. This mindset is what I believe is totally wrong. Why? Because if I'll talk about myself, ma'am, I was not really happy about if Shweta or her team would have prepared my documentation. Why? When it comes to verification stage, I will know nothing about what is written in those documents.
Absolutely.
If I have not prepared it, I will not be able to perform in the interview if it happens, because you never know. Australian immigration is a very technical process, and at any point of time they can call you even to embassy also for a verification, for a face-to-face round interview, or a telephonic or online platform, or they can call your employer. You have to have an idea what is written in your documents. The best thing is you get involved with the agency. And what I did with my friend, I have prepared everything on my own, and I've given it to, I still remember, to Shweta, and I requested them to spend 2 days to get your appointment and get it verified and checked from your end. And then there were so many of rectifications which you had suggested me, because you can change this, whatever rectifications you have done. And so it was a collaborative process, number one. Now, when it comes to choosing a migration agent, at one point of time, because I had spoken to Shweta, my counseling was so, I was so very much confident after my counseling, and after meeting you for 5 minutes, I enrolled then and there. I signed up. But I would request, what the major thing that is required is the state nomination process, ma'am.
Absolutely right.
Because
Absolutely.
had I been confident, and had I not been signed up with you, I wouldn't have got that opportunity to apply for the state nomination, which opens at times even for 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
It opens for 30 minutes. Once the applications are closed, or once the seats are, the number
Quota
of
is filled, yeah.
quota is filled, you will lose it. Now, which state is going to open their nomination, on what date, on what time? There are more than 7-8 states now, combining the Australian states. And which state is going to offer which nomination for which occupation, we don't know about it. So that is where migration agent comes into picture, wherein they have an expert team for that, who dedicatedly work only on the state nomination, right from the dates, right from the process, right from the eligibility criteria and everything. So this, a candidate cannot do it on him or herself, and they have to have that sort of, they cannot manage, because I was also working as a full-time professional. I didn't have time to sit 24/7 on the website, and you cannot do it.
And let me also add in here that though of course it's a part of their job, and I term it as professionalism, but the state nomination bodies can be very unforgiving towards any error you make in your application.
Absolutely.
So if your application, which is of course done in a time bound manner and at times also in a haste, has to be error free, so that there is no chance or no scope for a rejection. So that is something we're working against. It's more of a speed and accuracy test for us.
Absolutely.
We have to do it fast, and we have to make sure that it's absolutely correct. Okay, so the last question, Gaurav, I'd like to ask you, please share your very honest opinion about your entire experience with the audience. Don't think I'm sitting here,
No,
I'm
ma'am.
invisible right now.
Right.
Whatever you want to say from the heart to a person who's watching this video, only to get a very genuine feedback from a client, and not somebody who's been tutored to say nice things about a company.
Absolutely. That's so. Thank you so much for your question, ma'am. And I'm glad that you've asked this question to me, because see, whatever money I had spent, because yes, definitely this was a very expensive process. I would say the entire migration process. If you talk about country like Australia, Canada is quite cheaper. If I'd say I'd spent 100 rupees Canada, I would have spent 10 rupees and I would have got it. But if you're talking about Australia, there is a lot many difference. Australia has a number of opportunities, and again, it's Australia's immigration process is very technical. So now, talking about the entire process, with entire journey with CAAN Wings, I'm going to talk about. I'll start. One thing that I would like to really highlight here is, had I not seen your video, and had I not seen your ma'am, the first thing that I loved and I was confident that I'm going to talk to the right person was your way of communication. So your communication skills and your presentation skills came into picture. That was the first thing that I decided, oh, I need to meet this lady. That was the first thing. And that is
I'm sorry, I'd like to add here that I actually started with the videos during the COVID period.
Right.
So when the COVID lockdown was in place, for 15 days I slept. Then I was like, I'm so used to working, I can't just sit here,
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me just start educating people about Australia. So I started making videos, and that's where a lot of people who are not even aware of the opportunities for migration got in touch with us, and that's how they started following our channel.
Yes, And ma'am, I would say that two things that is very important. One is the intention that you're doing it, because I knew what I could understand with your videos was your intention was never to promote the organization or promote CAAN. You were intending to help people by spreading the awareness about the criticality, about the steps, about the process, and about the entire immigration piece, and your piece of advice while choosing the agents. So that was very what touched me, and that is very helpful for all the candidates. I'm talking about the overall process, ma'am. If I talk about the first thing that while you are signing up with any migration agent, so the first thing that you need to understand is, see, the migration agent is not going to give you a visa. They can only and only guide you. They can only and only support you during the steps with the right process. But ultimately, the decision is given by the immigration department of the respective country which you're applying for.
And I'd like to talk about the processing time as well, because a lot of times clients express their frustration about how long. Because Gaurav, I'd like to share with you, I was talking this with you before we started with this video. You got a 489 visa, and we have some applicants who had applied probably little before you. The CO case officers have still not been allocated. There's nothing wrong with their profile. They will get their visas in due course of time. It's just that the workload is being cleared by the DHA gradually. So sometimes people think maybe, I'm not to get a visa, or something has not been done correctly in my application, which is why visa has not been granted to me, and so on. So I think having patience is very important, especially for applicants whose applications were kind of stuck between the COVID standstill situation.
Ma'am, I still remember I started my process in the month of July 2019, and within August end I had my skills assessment done, and I received my ITA on 3rd of September.
ITA is the invitation to apply for a visa when your nomination is approved.
Yeah, ma'am. So I got my skills assessment, I got my state nomination done in 5 days, and I got my invitation to apply. So in 60 days I was through, and I still remember my date, ma'am. I got my medicals done on 25th of September 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my police clearance, everything was through. So I just assumed, okay, in the next 6 to 7 months, I'll be getting my visa. So why I'm telling the audience about this is 2019 September and December 2022. During this period, I have not given CAAN Wings even, I think I have just called them twice or thrice in the frequency of 8 to 10 months. Because I was very much studying on my own also, because I could see the processing time fluctuations on their website. So the only thing that we had to do is just to wait. So two things you need to have. First is patience. Second is trust. You have to trust your author or your whatever legal representative, because you were my legal representative of my case. So you have to trust them. There was nothing that CAAN Wings could have done, because otherwise to wait, because it was not in their hand. So I had only called in the last 3 years. I have called them, and this is the reality. It is not something that I have been told to say. This is the true feedback. I had called your team, ma'am, twice and thrice, and in fact I had not even called. Whenever I had I had thought to have a word with you, I have given you a mail, and so you were so generous to reply me. Okay, so this is under process. You'll get to see the news soon. So because of COVID, and there are lakhs of cases pending. There are so many backlogs. Then there's also another part to it, that the government over there changed, and after the Morrison government, now things have
they are more proactive. They're trying to expedite. Because they kind of, that's a political thing again, but they are trying to blame it on the previous government, that they have been little, casual about the approach, and they have not addressed the skilled shortages as efficiently as we are addressing. And we have actually seen a lot of movement forward in terms of nominations and in terms of visa grants since then.
And I'm so sorry, ma'am, I detoed from the overall my experience with CAAN Wings. So I would say, ma'am, first thing to all my audience, you can see, if you talk about me as my journey, I'm not saying this because I got my visa, so I'm saying this. No. Had I been, in case if my visa would have been rejected, then also I had no complaints with CAAN Wings, because I knew from day one till the time I got my invitation to apply, the kind of support and the kind of guidance, support, everything that I received from your end on a personal level. You work on each cases on a personal basis. You scrutinize each and every document. That is where expertise comes into picture. And that is where the involvement is mattered. How involved is your Mara agent or your migration agent is in your case, that matters. So to all my audience, see, when you're thinking about moving abroad, I would not suggest you to do it on your own, because there are certain technicalities involved which you don't know about. And the best, I don't know how funny is that there are too many things not mentioned anywhere on the website also. How will you come to know about it? You can only come, your agent, migration agent, they have that information, they have access to that information. Why? Because they are working in the field for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and it comes with expertise. वो कहते हैं ना, काम करते skills आप काम करते करते सीखते हो. So that skills, that expertise is gained over time with experience. It doesn't come overnight. So hiring a migration agent, I would definitely suggest everyone, please. And for me, if you ask my piece of advice, you can definitely, if you think about migrating, and if you're in, especially in the northern part of India or in anywhere in India, see, I came from 2000 kilometers, any part of India you are into, today it's not very hard to communicate. You can just reach out to CAAN Wings either through the website or the email, they have their numbers. I would suggest you to, because see, I'll tell you, I have reached CAAN Wings after getting, even this is a very big consultant, but I was rejected by and today I am sitting with a visa.
I didn't know that.
Yes, no. I scrutinized my profile and they told me you are not eligible for Australia, you are not eligible for Canada. They asked me to, you can go to UK for study. I disconnected their phone and I blocked them, and I was like, I would never like to see you or calling me back again. And after that, ma'am, after getting rejected from I started approaching my agents sitting in Australia. They rejected me. And today I'm sitting with a visa. See the funny part here. That is
that's true. So I think the take-home messages Gaurav has shared would be, one, the client interaction has to be there. You're not buying a refrigerator or a TV. Absolutely. That you pay the migration agent and the product is delivered to you. The client has to be just as involved in providing meticulous documentation and in handling the verifications, because they'll be contacting the client for verification and will not be contacting me. The second is that it is very important for you to understand who is the person who's going to work on your application. Yeah. So although I don't meet majority of my applicants, I may not be having any in direct conversation with them ever, but I am the person who's finally lodging their applications, and I check the applications thoroughly, and we have a very transparent system. I know some people like to handle the application on their own because they think that migration agents, instead of facilitating the process, are actually blocking information. They don't let the client have the information for the applications. We tell our clients that we are happy to share the screenshots. We share the application previews with them. We share the final visa applications previews with them and tell them that please review it. And we need your go ahead before we can actually submit. And we also encourage our clients whose applications have been lodged with the Department of Home Affairs that you can actually create mirror accounts and see what information has been lodged by your migration agent. Of course, the right to add documents is with the migration agent, because I can't, obviously if you add anything can go wrong, but you can always see whether we've lodged your application correctly, whether the documents have been attached, and what is the progress of your application. So these are the things that are possible for you to do despite the fact that the control of your application, let's say the application is being represented by the migration agent. Now, another important thing, Gaurav, which I think you're probably not aware of, is that a lot of times people engage a migration agent and the skills assessment that is received by them is in the name of the applicant with no reference of the migration agent. So any assessment, nomination, anything that does not is not applied through a migration agent portal, or let's say the person says, look, I'm going to give you the user ID and password for your portal, you can check it on your own. So client feels very happy, very good, I get access to my, little realizing that person is not representing your case, because I have thousands of applicants. How can I share my password with you? You can create a mirror account and look at your individual thing, but I cannot give you access to the portal. Absolutely. So we'll never give you passwords because we have control of your application, but you can always view For assessments, you cannot view. For various status, but for DHA, you can always view. So there is absolute transparency where we facilitate everything for you. We do not try to block any information for you.
Man, this gives me a very interesting thing. I remember my father asked me a question. Okay, it is in last year, I believe. Yeah, it's like it's been 3 years. You have spent a lot of money. What is your consultant doing? So I was I was actually expecting that question from my parents.
That's the usual question. All parents.
All parents
So
say.
the applicants actually face a lot of pressure from the parents. कि बना क्या?
Bola kya?
Where did you go? Whom did you give the money to?
My father told me fraud हुआ है तुम्हारे साथ. मैंने कहा अच्छा okay. Then what I did, mummy won't believe. I took out my credit card statement. I had paid the visa fees. I told him, "Abhi idhar aaiye. I mean, you read this. This money has been deducted. Okay, this is 2,05,15,000, whatever currency value was there. Suppose 2.5 lakhs rupees. So मैंने कहा this has been, it is written in the Department of Home Affairs Australia. ये पैसा उनको गया है. This money has been deducted and it has been credited into DHA account. मैंने कहा so this shows कि मेरा वीजा तो फाइल हुआ है. I was like, my visa is filed. That is the reason they have charged the money, right? Then he believed in me. Okay, मैंने कहा yes. मैंने कहा now today you have asked this question to me. Please don't again come back to me with the same question. I'm already very much in a confused state that okay, when is the visa going to come? And don't give me this negative vibes. Yeah. So you need to understand few things. Whatever payments that you're doing for in every stage, I would say, ma'am, be it skills assessment, you are giving, for example, if it's vertices, you are going to give money to vertices. Yeah, you can check it in your credit card statements,
and you get a receipt from.
You get a receipt from here. Then you are paying for the state nomination. You are giving it to the state. Then you are paying visa fees. You are paying to the DHA. Now you need to very well understand is whatever money your migration agent is going to charge is for the services. So definitely, yeah, nothing comes for free. They are also operating an organization. So what I meant is charges are transparent. They are all transparent. So you need to understand that. And one more thing, ma'am, I would like to add here is that you need to very well understand about it. If I would say you ask me what is the role of your migration agent in the entire process, I would say there are two aspects to it. Number one, 90% is your involvement. How involved are you? That is one aspect to it. Second aspect to it, what is your migration agent's expertise? What are their experiences? How technically sound their team are? So that also comes. 90% is your migration agent's expertise and experience. 10% is yours. Now, ये दोनों जो aspect हैं, वो two aspects to it. Number one, I would like to explain where I think 90% depends on me is you. I would like to share this again, ma'am. It is a very funny thing that. After I enrolled here, and since I had a very limited window of 10 to 15 days to complete my documentation and file the state nomination, skills assessment, and everything, I got a printer installed in my car, in the boot. You remember, man? I gave you the picture also. Yeah. I got a printer installed. I got a small car inverter installed so that I could give connection to my printer. I got papers over there. I got a scanner, proper scanner professional in my boot was
a mini office.
And I had submitted documents on request whenever Shweta or Simar from the processing team had called me. We need this document. I have given it in 10 minutes. And they were shocked to see how are you possibly doing it. So they were like, how do you manage this? Then I had clicked that picture of my car and I sent it to them. I got, see, this is what I am doing. So what I want to tell you here is, what I want to share is, आप कितने desperate हो उस चीज के लिए? How desperate? It's not about desperate also. How serious are you about the technicality? How serious are you about the timelines? If your agent has asked you for a document, okay, you can give it in 3 days. I used to give that document to the team in 3 hours. That is where time is, because had I not given my documentation on time, ma'am, I would have lost the state nomination, which opened for a day. I think it opened for 1 day. My restaurant manager nomination opened for 1 day. Since my documentation was in place, they even asked me, they had their documents, they filed it. I got to know about that. I received a nomination once I received it. And also, trust comes into picture, ma'am. This is a very important thing. I don't think so you remember, but I remember. Because I insisted you, ma'am, I want to go to Sydney. You told me, okay, I'll try for NSW. But you filed it for South Australia. I got my state nomination. Then I came down to you, ma'am. I told you that I want to settle in NSW. You applied it for South Australia. Then you had given me a wonderful piece of advice. You got whatever is coming in on hand, first grab it. You can anytime you can anytime shift your state 2 years down the line,
After
3 years
year,
down the
yeah,
line.
absolutely.
But you first get inside the country and legally. And you're getting an opportunity. So this is a very simple thing. You're getting an opportunity, you're rejecting it. No, don't do that. If you're migrating, just be clear in your head. If you're getting nomination by any of the state, boss, you're going to be in that country. Go there. And today, ma'am, I believe the opportunities in South Australia is more than New South Wales. Why? Because NSW is overcrowded now. There are lack of job opportunities over there. Everybody, whosoever is going on a student visa, they are still rushing into NSW only. So the jobs are not there now. And apparently, on the other
They're
hand,
oversaturated.
they're
actually.
oversaturated, man. And in South Australia, it is a growing state. And if you talk about mining, if you talk about aeronauticals, so every industry, they're putting up their plans in that. So I'm also doing a research on what is the future of South Australia. If you talk to me about moving to NSW today, no, ma'am. Even I don't have a job in hand today. I'll be leaving in the next 2 days.
But you can actually now, if you initiate any conversation with an employer in Australia,
Yes, sir.
they will conclude it to whether they want to offer you a job or not, because now you have work rights.
I have work rights, yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is, ma'am, that now today I don't want to move to NSW because I know 2 years down the line, South Australia is going to 5 years down the line going to be offering more opportunities than NSW.
Absolutely.
So please do go to regional area. You can apply for regional areas. You get extra points, and definitely I would say you talk to me. Just if you want to migrate as from here, please come in touch with CAAN Wings. It's not nothing like that. They cannot offer you a piece of advice also. No, you can interact with their team. You don't have to sign up to get an interaction.
In fact, I was sharing with Gaurav that I have some of my YouTube viewers who've been asking me information, who've been sending me emails, who are handling the processes on their own. And I feel really good when I get a phone call from them or an email thanking me that, ma'am, you really helped us at a very critical stage where we needed some information and now we've got our visas. So, the purpose of my videos, of course, is commercial. I'm running an organization, but it's also educative. The purpose of YouTube videos basically is to educate clients and help them if I can help them in. Now, while you were talking, I have this question. A lot of people think that regional areas in Australia is going to a village. We want to go to a modern city like Sydney and Melbourne. We don't want to go for region. And then again, they keep on saying, we don't want to go for 491, which has been replaced by 489. We want to go for 190 because you get, it's a PR and this is not a PR. So what's your take on that?
Ma'am, first of all, okay, let me just clarify this. So, again, this is what your research comes into picture. See, Australia, if you talk about 3 cities, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, people think these are the only 3 cities you can live in and you can have a good life. No, that's wrong. You go to any village in Australia also for that matter, boss, the entire country is developed and you have opportunities. Now, talking about regional Australia, Australia has a few years back declared the entire Australia as regional apart from these 3 cities. Ma'am, correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
My research says is Sydney, Australia and Brisbane. Rest, I think entire Australia is regional.
And I'd like to add here, we've been into this for the last 20 years. That is, Australian migration has been a forte for the last 20 years. Perth has recently been declared regional. And you'll not believe it, when we started with Australian immigration 20 years from now on, Melbourne was also a regional area.
And today it's a cosmopolitan city and it's so much opportunities are there. But yes, today, ma'am, Adelaide. And the next thing, Adelaide, people are thinking that, okay, we have to go to Adelaide. No. After 3 years only, they are going to again exclude Adelaide from this. Because Adelaide is going to get overcrowded.
Absolutely true.
Adelaide is going to get overcrowded. Then again, you will have to look for a place called Moray or a place called Port Augusta and things like that.
Absolutely.
So definitely, there is nothing like that. Regional Australia doesn't mean a village. It means it is in fact, I would say, ma'am, regional Australia is an opportunity.
And why it is regional is because of the lack of information people think that these cities do not have job opportunities or they are backward, so we should only go to Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne and Sydney. And because of which the government is saying, okay, fine, please get this Melbourne and Sydney syndrome out of your way, out of your mind. Let's give you 15 additional points so that you spread out evenly in Australia and not clutter and over clutter a certain part.
That is good.
Yeah. So Gaurav, though he's been into the hospitality industry, he likes to travel a lot, so which is why he had a mini office in his car, but has been very prompt in providing documentation from his end. And it's very generous of him to have volunteered to share his experience. Normally, clients, after they get their visas, they don't even want us to share their picture online, and we are happy to do that. We like to respect your request for confidentiality. For whatever reasons, they say, we don't want to, whatever. Gaurav was very open. He's flying to Australia tomorrow. That's his visa there. He's flying to Australia tomorrow. And I think Thai Airlines is what you told me.
12:30 midnight, and and I came all the way again so I had my flight. So I'm flying from Delhi tomorrow.
But I thought you're flying from Amritsar.
No, ma'am, I came all the way to meet you and your team.
I was under the impression that you probably have a flight from Amritsar, which is why you came to Jalandhar.
No, ma'am. Okay. I came all the way from Ranchi to 2 days prior just to have a meeting with your team. I wanted to meet you and thank you. Which I think I cannot do all my life. No. And I really mean it, ma'am. And it's not that because I'm doing it for a commercial purpose. I don't know what impression with all due respect, many of the audience would think that, okay, CAAN Wings would have paid some money to this person and he's sitting over here. No. So what you can do is, had I been into India and had I so much of, could manage so much of time, I would have shared my number openly on the open forum. But what I can tell you is, I don't know whether
you wrote a Google review. He's written a very detailed Google review for CAAN Wings Jalandhar office. And in that, I think you mentioned that if anybody wants to talk to me, you can connect with the CAAN Wings team. We normally don't give numbers for our clients, but since Gaurav is open to the idea, if anybody wants, you can connect our office and
they will connect. They can connect any of you with me, and you can definitely, because what I am trying here is to help you. Because I did not have access to this support and help with any of the person or entity or anyone else who could help me to reach out to a genuine agent, migration agent. I happened to have rejection. I faced rejections. I faced fraudulent calls. I faced fraudulent informations. So I have had a lot of things which but after the going so much of pain, I would say, I reached CAAN Wings. And so with all the viewers who are watching this video, if any one of you think or might think that this is a paid review,
it's a marketing,
this is a marketing technique or something, no, that's not true. It is I genuinely received my visa, boss. You can find me. I can send you my pictures also. I'll land.
I think my viewers have this much faith that I never overstate and never give any false commitments.
And anyone, if you want to have a word with me, do want to know more about my journey, you can connect with the CAAN Wings team and they'll connect you with me. And I'll be happy to share whatever information I can once again. And definitely, please, one more request. Do involve a migration agent with your case. They come with a lot of experience and expertise, and that's very much important. And ma'am, you asked me why did I do that? Because I did not want to take any chance in that.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Things I don't know about. I mean, there are some things you can't learn on the YouTube.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I had to go for a wedding. I wanted to get some makeup done. Somebody said, learn it on YouTube. I'm like, no, I'm not taking any chance. I don't want to look like a joker,
No.
So I paid a makeup artist because that's a job. She knows how to do it.
Actually, that's true. And it is about you dealing with your life. You're dealing with lives. I told Shweta, and that team, I've told you, ma'am, because I think for me, God will walk to your door and come to you. They will meet you in some form. What I think is, I met you, ma'am, and
humbled by this.
No, ma'am, I really mean it.
And you know the reason why, Australia is a very complex process. It takes long. Student visas take much lesser time. The reason why I don't really have not been, been more into Australia immigration is because I have clients who are genuinely going for the purpose they have expressed. They want to settle, and that's exactly what they are saying in the application. And till now, I've not had a single client who has complained or regretted the decision to move to Australia. And it is so accomplishing for me to see clients when they call, that they share, "Ma'am, we got a house, ma'am, we got a car, we've got an amazing job, and we're so well settled here." Then you feel so good that money is a byproduct here. You're spreading happiness and you are feeling so fulfilled, and there's a lot of contentment that you have of course you have commercially thrived, you've survived, you've done well, but at the same time you have guided your clients about a product which is client centric. A student visa for somebody at Gaurav's stage is not client centric, that is migration agent centric. He's looking at his short term goals.
Right, ma'am.
But because the department is not paying us, no skills assessment body is paying us, no state is paying us, DHA is not giving us any cuts. So it's something we feel is in the best interest of the applicant. So I was just thinking today, what kind of topic should I speak about? Then Gaurav came, he already had scheduled an appointment. I said, let's do this, Gaurav, let's do your live video conversation.
I wanted to share this experience with your audience, and I had requested, I don't know whether they have told you or not, I requested them that I would like to share my experience with your team and with your audience also, and you can post that is the reason I wrote that review on Google, and I've also written that this is not a paid review, you can get in touch with me. So yeah, and I wanted to have an interaction with you, and thank you so much, ma'am, that you gave me an opportunity to become a part of your forum here and share my experience with the entire process and CAAN Wings. And but all my due respect and all, I cannot thank you all my life.
No,
So,
I think Gaurav, I just feel that this is my job, and I'm feeling just as happy as you are. Though you're flying abroad, I'm still going to be sitting here. Anyways.
But yes, ma'am, you are doing a great job. Why I'll tell you is you are changing lives. You are actually changing lives. People think that, okay, so it's a business. No, let's not go to the commercial part of it. Today, what I believe is, ma'am, people, even after taking money, they are not giving you the correct information that you need, which can actually change your life. So, maintaining that, I would say, that integrity matters, that being that ethics, yeah, so that ethics should be there, and that matters. So, and what can I say, ma'am? I think we are actually changing lives. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Gaurav, for taking the time to fly down.
My pleasure.
Now that I know that you don't have a flight from Amritsar, from Delhi, and you came here just to meet the team, it means a lot to us. And this is the real reward that we get from the client. And thank you so much for watching this vlog interview. But I hope you enjoyed listening to Gaurav, because this was a real case interview where a person in person was sharing his journey. I was even not asked by me. I told him, I said, Gaurav,
we are not planned for it.
Impromptu.
I just came in a random t-shirt.
I told him that, when I do pen down the points that I'm going to be covering in my video session, but then I speak impromptu. And I said, you also need to speak impromptu. Whatever you want to say it on the camera.
I think, ma'am, I had spoken a lot because I could not control my emotions, which is why we are more than 48 minutes or something like that. And I could not control my emotions, because what I understand is, I had spent 13 years. I came back in 2010 from Australia. I was there on a student visa in 2000. I went in.
So why did you not apply for your immigration then?
Ma'am, back that time, due to family reasons, I had to come back. My mother was not well, and due to some personal reasons, I had to come back from
So
Australia.
you did get some points for your completing your studies?
No, because I could not complete it that time. I had completed 1 year, but I could not receive my degree because I could not pay.
So you got no advantage for having been in Australia. Okay.
But one thing was, a lot of people do is, they go on a student visa, and over there, for short-term advantages, they do commercial frauds with banks and entities like that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Had I done that, I could not even apply. So don't do that. And I came back in 2010. Ma'am, I have researched every year. I have researched on the immigration process, because I had this mindset, once I complete my studies, I gain some experience, work experience, I'll go back again.
So, like, your experience in Australia was so good that you were, after coming back, you still wanted to move to that country.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to settle there. It was a serious problem at my family. I had to come back. So in 2010 and it's 2023. So it took me 13 years. So I would say 2019, ma'am, because 2019 I
You
started.
initiated the process.
Yeah. So almost 9 years, and 9 years I had waited. I had researched. I had worked very, very hard. I had saved money for this.
And you worked in an occupation
Yes, ma'am.
which you knew was in demand. And he made sure that he had proper documentation to support his claims of employment. And I even remember taking you through a mock interview.
Yes.
I said, Gaurav, you could be getting a call, so let me just ask you questions.
It was a
So
45
a lot
minutes
of times,
interview.
for example, the university lecturers, I asked them, okay, let me ask you some questions randomly. They answer very nicely. We write this research paper, we do this. I said, you missed the main thing. You did not tell them that you teach students. That is obvious. I said, no, that's not obvious. You have to tell them. So I took Gaurav through the entire interviews and I asked him very difficult questions. I asked him questions I thought that, I would mislead him on, but he had, obviously, since that was his job, he answered everything beautifully. I said, you'll sail through it if you get an interview call.
Ma'am, I remember you asked me about organogram. You asked me about hierarchy. You asked me about the designations.
I remember I asked you what was the challenge. Give me an example of a challenge you faced as a restaurant manager.
Yes,
and you told me something about a vegetarian cake.
Yeah. I had answered that, and the entire process. You need to be ready with anything that comes on to you. You need to be bang on that, and that matters. That will only come with authenticity. That will only come with hard work, research, your involvement, and the entire. See, I think how dedicated are you in the process matters, because I still remember, ma'am, you asked me for that document in the airport, and what I have done, how I managed is incredibly different. I mean, so you have to think about the seriousness that is required from the client's end in the process, because see, your agent is only representing you.
Absolutely.
So if you are doing something wrong in your documentation and they are representing it to the government, it's not their mistake. You are going to get banned by them. You are going to get rejected. They will ban you. So you have to be authentic. At least if you are some sort of doing any alterations in your documents, at least be truthful to your agent.
Absolutely.
अब उनको बताओ कि मैम ये changes, can we do it? Ask, see, you have to.
And we'll tell you whether it is legit or not.
Yeah.
Whether is it permissible or not. Yes, there are certain roles where you may not be 100% doing what you're claiming. 20 to 25% of your role could be overlapping with another occupation, 75 with the one you've nominated. So we'll tell you that, okay, fine, if it's 20, 25 or 30%, it's okay, we will mention it. But if it's more than that, then we'd not like to proceed with this application at all.
Right. So that's what I think, ma'am. I think we have said enough. A lot of things, and so do understand about your task and duties. If you're choosing a nomination, you also do research and study about what are the tasks and duties they expect you to perform in your current role here.
Absolutely.
So आपको आपके बारे में पता होना चाहिए. You should know what you are getting into and about your occupation.
And I hope you know that now that you're going to Australia, it's not necessary for you to work as a restaurant manager.
I'll tell you
can work in any field.
Ma'am, I'll tell you. Abhi, after this video, I thought that I'll request for 10 minutes of yours, because I have so much of questions now. And this was my first question, which you just answered. That, ma'am, do I have to work?
I'll sit and discuss. Yeah, so for viewers' information, the work rights of any person who's going to Australia on a skilled migrant visa remain the same, irrespective of whether you go on a 189, 190, 491, 489. Your work rights will be similar to that of an Australian citizen. You can take up a government job, you can work in any field, you can work full-time, overtime, whatever. Your wages will be the same as that of an Australian citizen.
All right, ma'am. So, ma'am, so
you may have a difficulty getting a position as a manager within the hospitality sector. You can start with even an industry which is not even related to hospitality.
Ma'am, I'm so changing it to my. So, for example, my occupation was a restaurant manager, and I decide to work into a logistics company.
You can do that
as a truck driver, maybe.
You can do that.
I can do that,
as long as the employer is happy to help you. The government doesn't have any problem with that.
So that is the biggest. I think that is the biggest advantage we have as a skilled migrant. That we are. So that opens plenty of opportunities. not just in the hospitality, but there are so many industries. There healthcare is there, retail is there. So there are so many jobs.
Absolutely.
And if you are, say, for example, like if I've completed my bachelor's and master's here, so I have that expertise that I can work as a manager in any industry. So that is.
And I think one advantage you will have there is communication skills. So why students are struggling for jobs? There are two reasons. First of all, they can only work part time, and two, they're poor on communication skills. Getting 6 bands in each section is a task for them. Whereas somebody like Gaurav, who has excellent communication skills, Australian employers would be more than happy to engage him, to employ him, because they know that he has the skills that are required at a professional position in Australia. So I would say all the very best, Gaurav. A safe journey, and do stay in touch with us and keep sharing your experiences.
Yes, ma'am. And anytime, any of the members are watching this video, if you like to connect with me, you can request the CAAN Wings team, and they'll definitely put a call. We'll manage on some platform. And this is nothing because I'm trying to earn some money or something. No, nothing at all. यार बाहर इतना time नहीं होता है. So again, once you will migrate, you won't have time to eat food also. If you are, it's about bread and earning. How serious are you about your career? Even though, I'm volunteering myself to be a part of this client interaction, is because I have been through that pain wherein you don't get authentic information. So if I can be of help to anyone watching this video, I'll be more than happy.
Absolutely. So it was wonderful having Gaurav today, and he gave me some content for Saturday, which I was not prepared for. See you next week. Until then, goodbye and take care.